Beverage and Amalgamated Appliances has released its full-year results with headline earnings per share up 49.3% to 43.3 cents. The group's profit before tax grew to 119.1 million rand. And joining us for a look at the numbers now is Alan Coward. He's CEO at AMAP. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, Alan. Let's get straight into these numbers here because AMAP is all about offering good, better, best brands. Take us through the strategy right now and who you're actually targeting, because the company does a lot of homework in understanding different profiles of customers that you're actually looking to cater to.
Thanks very much. Great to be here. So to put it into context, first of all, our market is sub-Saharan Africa. So we look from Nigeria to Kenya, down to Botswana to South Africa. So those are the consumers, that's what we're targeting. We look from entry level in all the categories we operate to top end products. We operate from appliances to housewares to accessory products to TDK to telephones, anything that's in the home that makes business sense that we can add value through to the consumers. So it's been a great run in Africa in the last 12 months.
Alan, it must be quite difficult for you to talk about, when you talk about going right from the top end consumer right down to the entry level consumer, because there's an enormous gap between those two. Can you tell us about the trends? I mean, these numbers are quite robust, as you say, revenue up around about 21%, something like that. But what are the trends? Who's actually buying? We hear so much about unsecured loans and what those loans are being used for. Presumably you've been the recipient of some of that money.
So if you look at the consumers are looking at the top-end product. Everybody desires to have the top-end product. Then it becomes a question of affordability. Then around about the affordability, it's quality, quality, quality and reliability. Those things go hand in hand all the time. At the top end, they expect that. It becomes around fashion. And people, when they make decisions on the categories in which we operate, and ours are not the durables, ours are the sort of semi-durables, and most of the products are retail for less than 1,000 rand. So people look at the quality and they make decisions. Now, our top-selling brand is Russell Hobbs, and Russell Hobbs is in the best category. So it's actually very interesting. South Africans and even Africans right across the continent, they want the best.
Like I said at the top, I mean, your team seems to be doing quite a bit of homework. You know, the sales and key account managers analysing the latest consumer trends. What are they telling you now about the kind of trends that are out there at this stage?
People are looking at their lifestyles, and lifestyles are starting to change. Kitchens are becoming open. The kitchen is part of the home. The family is becoming more important. Cooking and operating in the home together as a family unit is becoming more important. So people are making bigger investments. Also, what's happening is the space is getting smaller because it's expensive. Yeah. So the utilization of the products is becoming extremely important. So we're seeing those changes and trends, which makes it quite exciting. Now, those changes are taking place across Africa.
Yeah.
Alan, having a look at the economic data coming out of the South African economy, it's almost as though amalgamated appliances is almost a proxy for durable goods and semi-durable goods figures and also retail sales. And is that why then you have put out a target of 10% of your revenue coming from outside of South Africa's border in the future, because you see the South African economy slowing down and therefore you have to diversify even more than you already are?
So to try and put it into context, when we've looked at the market, what we've said to ourselves, if we're going to get double-digit growth, let's look at the categories we're in. And we've got quite high market shares in certain categories. In the appliances and the sewing business, we've got high market shares. So we're expanding our growth, moving into new categories. Housewares is giving us good growth. We've moved into some acquisitions like TDK, satellite TV. That's going to give us good growth. But we really think the growth is going to come from Africa.
Yeah. What's your strategy, though? Because when we were chatting to Gary Boyson, he highlighted that it's no easy feat, being able to succeed as a business on the African continent. It's tough doing business out there, but we're starting to see this trend of suppliers following on South African retailers into the continent. We saw it with Tiger Brands earlier this week, and amalgamated appliances following suit. So just how tricky is it doing business in Africa? What's your strategy? Do you rely on relationships that you've already built with South African retailers, for example?
Very much. building on the existing relationships. So the ShopRite, the Massmart relationships, the Pick and Pay, all the South African retailers are there, gives us a good base. So when we went into the different countries, what we do is we visit the stores, we find out from them what their experiences are and what they want. They point out who the right agents, who we should partner with, what are the issues in the different countries. We go and then visit the people, we find out who's going to be the best to operate with. We then develop a business relationship with the agents in the different countries. Now, we've just had a conference in South Africa where we brought down 15 agents from across sub-Saharan Africa, launched new products to them, did product training, and it's building on building, and word of mouth gets around amongst the different agents, and then you get approached. So we're building. We didn't go for the big markets first. We went for the smaller markets where we could get an understanding and we could grow our knowledge. And then you have to do the basic things. You've got to change the packaging. You've got to put the right languages on the right plugs. Have the product available.
Part of the rationale for you changing your entire group, your holding name to Home of Living Brands then?
The trading company is Tedlex and the holding company is Amalgamated Appliances. And we were very concerned about changing the name. But we think over the last couple of years, we've delivered compounded growth, double digit. And we think we've earned the right. And we think that this name represents the company. The people got together in the company, they came up with the names. We as management then reviewed them and narrowed it down to this name. And we're delighted because it reflects what we do. We think it's got a good pizzazz to it, and we're busy changing the signs in the building as we stand here at the moment.
Alan, tell me about inflation over the range of goods that you provide to the various geographies, South Africa and elsewhere. Inflation has been benign, relatively benign across the board globally. That's the first question. And secondly, what about the rand? People are talking about the rand going on a bit of a trot to the downside. Are you prepared for that?
So if we look at inflation in our categories, the consumer, it's all around the consumer. The consumer is very harsh. There's certain price points for our products. So an iron has a price point at 99 Rand, 149, 199, 299, 399. Our inflation comes from the Rand, and the Rand has basically gone from just over 7 to about 8.4, 8.3, hovers in that sort of region. And the inflation comes from the factories that we buy from. Now, we have a local factory, and we have local inflation. Wages go up 9%, 8%, so you cope with that. And you cope with inflation from the east, and that inflation is 8, 9%. So you have to innovate. You've got to keep the products at the same price. You need to change the products, be smarter, quicker. The other interesting thing about our products is that 50% of the cost of the product is not in the product itself. It's in delivery charges, in customs duty, in clearing charges, container shipping rates. So you've got to be tough on the negotiations to get it in at the right price.
Well, let's leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us in studio.